1-2-1-2 in the place to be. I am Frank Fred. How y'all doing out there? You guys got to keep me informed. Let me know if the mic sound nice. The mic is good. Everything is cool. You can see me. You can hear me. All good. Hello, Vicky. How you doing? Everybody else out there? Riveting basketball game. No doubt about that. Golden State Warriors. Wow. You guys got to fill me in. I'm going to just count it down. I know the Warriors just went up and won, which is amazing. The powers of Stephen Curry. How you doing, RC Rules? Can you hear me? Am I right? Got a lot to talk about. This is a big-time sports weekend. Easter Sunday, when we're doing the program live. Maybe Monday, depending upon when you're listening to the show. But everything was cool. I had a great day. Hope you're okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, if the Warriors don't go to overtime and we get a final, you guys help me out with that. We can talk about that for the game. What it amounts to is really theater. And, you know, for Warrior fans, I'm sure they're like, I'm down with this. You know, I don't mind watching it. I don't mind watching Stephen Curry look like he's playing a video game against one of the best teams in the NBA and his old teammate, Kevin Durant. I don't mind that at all. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the Giants. They're off to a tough start. It's baseball, though. If you ever played baseball before, you know that there's a reason why they play 162 games. It's almost inexplicable to try to figure out why players get off the hot starts and why they don't. You can look at Judge. Judge didn't play well during the World Baseball Series at all. He was terrible. He's off to a pretty good start with the Yankees. So a lot of it is mental. But I actually like this Giants team. I think they're going to be above 500. To me, 90 wins is always the barometer for the Giants because they're not going to win the division. But can they get into the playoffs via the wild card? I think that's what Giant fans should be hopeful for. It's a timeout with the Warrior games. They're up 116 and 115 over the Houston Rockets. Stephen Curry has been amazing. The grit, the hustle that you expect from the Warrior teams has definitely been there. But 3-0 adds a different level of talent that we have watched over the past couple of months with the Warriors. And it's fun to watch. I wasn't really a big fan in Stephen Curry coming back because even tonight he's hit the floor like 4 or 5 times. Fortunately, he's been okay and he's not hurt. But it's fun to watch. And if you don't think that the $1 billion plus contracts that the NBA signed with these networks doesn't influence whether or not Stephen Curry comes back, going on the premise that he's healthy, you're out of your mind. It's Sunday night primetime. They needed something to replace Sunday night football. And the Warriors are the most marketable team in the NBA, especially if Stephen Curry's playing. So business sometimes, I won't say supersedes a player's health, but it's a factor. It's a factor in whether or not a player gets on the floor. So at the end of this game, we can talk about, where the Warriors stand. If you were in favor of them bringing Stephen back to play a play-in game, I don't really care about the play-in game. Even if they win 2 games and they're in a series, I don't know if I want to see that. But I'm a Warrior supporter. I'm not really a Warrior fan. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm looking at some of these young players playing college basketball, and I want the Warriors to get a ping pong ball to draft one of them. Yaxo Lindenberg, to me, is the perfect player for the Golden State Warriors. And I'm concerned that if they get into the play-in and they start winning a little bit, then that's going to hurt their draft position. But I'm not a fan. I'm a strong supporter. It'd be interesting to get your thoughts on that because They can't miss on this draft. There's too many good players. Too many. And we'll talk about the Warriors as the show unfolds. But I think proper respect needs to go to the Lady Bruins of UCLA, who took down the South Carolina Gamecocks 79-51. It was a complete blowout. I thought South Carolina would win because of their tremendous defense. But UCLA was prepared for it. Oh, man. So the Rockets win 117-116. I didn't see that last play. Some of you got to explain it to me. I don't know what happened because I didn't watch the game. I wasn't watching it now. What a tough loss by the Warriors. Let's get back to UCLA, though. When you look at UCLA's top-end talent, they were better than South Carolina. I think South Carolina collectively had more athletes. Theoretically, you thought that they would turn UCLA over. That did not happen as much as they thought that they would, and Texas did against UCLA. And at the end of the day, UCLA skill players were better than South Carolina. If you look at the WNBA, there's 14 teams now. UCLA is going to have 3 players picked in the top 12. I love Kiki Rice. Kiki Rice is going to be an all-star in the WNBA by year 3 or 4. Gabriella Jaquez, love her. She is the consummate glue player. And Lauren Betts is going to be a top 5 pick. So it isn't like they were chopped liver. They were really, really good. I like their coach, Chloe Klaus. And I also like the fact that in defeat, Dawn Staley was gracious. Our young ladies were gracious. And that's how it should be. It isn't like they haven't won before. Some of those young ladies have won 2 championships. Today wasn't their day. Give it to UCLA. For the first time in their illustrious history as a university, the women are national champions. So I'm happy for them. I would love to see a more competitive game, but it is what it is. The players on South Carolina have had a phenomenal career, and they got a lot of young, talented players coming back. So good for them. All right, the Warriors game is over. They lose 117-116. A lot of good stuff was happening on the court, and we have an opportunity tonight to talk about it. My name is Frank Red. This is In the Dungeon Show. Hit me up at Big Frank Red on X, and hit the subscribe button and the like button if you like what you hear. All right, let's get the show started and go out and talk to Vicky. Put my glasses on, Vicky, so I can see. Hi, Frank. How are you? Steph looked good. I'm so proud of my Michigan basketball team. They beat the big, bad Arizona Wildcats. Tomorrow night is nothing but pride. Go Blue. I told you they were good. Yeah, you did. And let me say this, Vicky. I picked Michigan to make the Final Four, and I picked them to lose in the finals against Houston. So I'm not as bright as you are. But I did have Michigan making the Final Four and the final game. Not a big surprise because they are 1 seed. But I knew how good they were. Elliot Cadeau, the North Carolina transfer, I love his instinctiveness as a passer. And their front court is phenomenal. I didn't know Yaxel. I knew his stats. I knew his reputation. But I had not watched him play. I got a chance to see him up close and personal. And Lindenberg is a tremendous player. It'll be interesting if he's able to perform on Monday night, because that was a nasty, twisted knee deal that he had, and structure tendon also. So, young man needs to be careful. He's a senior. He has a lot of money on the line. Definite top 12 lottery pick. He needs to be careful. I think Michigan will win. In many respects, UConn, they've already won, because there's no way in hell they should be in the championship game based on talent. Now, I did pick UConn to make the Final Four also. My Final Four was Arkansas, UConn, Houston, and Michigan. And I had Houston beating Michigan in the championship, and I think Houston just had a bad night. Illinois destroyed them, took them apart defensively even more than offensively, which was kind of crazy. But I didn't think Illinois would be able to beat UConn because they're not a defensive-oriented team. And knowing Danny Hurley, knowing the history of how he was developed as a coach with his dad, that East Coast style of basketball, I knew that would probably get them over the edge against Illinois, particularly based on the fact they have a bunch of Europeans who are really good. And Stojakovic also plays like a European, even though he was born and raised in the United States. So this is extraordinary. It really is. Danny Hurley going to his third final game in the past 4 years. And they actually lost to Florida last year's win about 2 points in, the Elite Eight? Pretty good stuff. So you want to talk about the game tomorrow night? We can do so. You want to talk about the WNBA season? We can do that also. I never wavered. You guys know I said they were going to get a deal done. But I am so impressed with the Boumaké. What a fierce negotiator. Everybody's proud of what those young ladies were able to do. Onto the court now. I can't wait to see them start playing. The great Vicky says, Happy Easter, everyone. Hit the like button and subscribe to Frank's channel. Always helping the brother out. I appreciate you. I want to raise what RC Rule said about the Giants off to a poor start. They are, but I'm okay. I think the Giants can be fine. The weather has been extraordinary. They got a beautiful park. Just go out there and have fun. Just go out there and enjoy the day. Their pitching's going to be there. They're going to keep them in it. They're going to be okay. They are. Giant fans, don't get all emotional after the first couple of weeks of the season. Just chill. They're going to be all right. All right, let's go out and talk to my man Keys. He says, what's up, Frank? Hope all is well. Happy Easter. Does Basie have a role with us moving forward? He looks like the most athletic big we've had since Weber. I hope he does. I'm not even going to try to pronounce Bootshaven, whatever the center was. I watched that guy, and I can only imagine how Steve Kerr was gripping watching the last center that they had play. He appeared to be lazy, and I don't use that word, but this dude was loafing on the court. He's on a second 10-day contract with an opportunity to be an NBA player. He's out there jogging around. The senseless fouls was horrible. Steve Kerr was like, oh, no, you got to go. I'm not quite sure which team Basie was on. Was he on San Antonio? Because if he was, Steve Kerr probably picked the phone up and said, yo, we need this guy. That's how incestuous the NBA is. They just pick the phone up and call their friend. Basie has enough ability to be an NBA player. I loved his stint with the San Antonio Spurs. He just kind of ran into the numbers game. But yeah, I'm hoping for the kid. I mean, he's not a kid. He's probably about 27, 28 years old at this point. He's been in the league probably 4 or 5 years. But yeah, I'm rooting for him. Time will tell. A lot of these guys level out mentally and they start playing poorly. That's something you can't do with the Warriors. But what an inspirational start tonight. Pretty happy with what I saw. Vicky says, you sound great. The Boston Red Sox have a worse record than the Giants. Like you said, it's baseball. Yeah, it is baseball. Mr. Go, what a lucky win for the Rockets. Really was. What happened on that last play? I don't know what happened because I wasn't watching. I was preparing for the show. What happened? Keith, and I'm glad Iriyama apologized. That was not a good look. And I'm happy for the Bruins. First women's college basketball title. I was a little surprised to hear that. Yeah, I was too, because, I mean, they're pretty slow. They are pretty slow, UCLA. But they're highly skilled and they're well coached. Chloe Kloss is a bulldog. They got a hell of a coach who is a complete grinder. And they got it to the finish line. I mean, but again, Gabriela Jaquez is going to be a mainstay in the WNBA. From what I understand, Caitlin Clark was online promoting her, telling the Fever staff that they need to draft her. And she's kind of a Sophie Cunningham type of player. She'd probably be damn good on Indiana. So look out for that. Kiki Rice, let me show you my knowledge. Kiki Rice was the #1 high school player in the country 4 years ago out of Sedwell Academy, Washington, D.C. area, one of the most expensive high schools in the country. She has it all. I mean, no telling what she might do after her playing career is over. She's that dynamic, that bright. But just focusing on basketball, Kiki Rice is the real deal. She kind of reminds me of Veronica Burton a little bit. I'm going to say a little quicker, probably a little more fluid, but I love Veronica Burton. Veronica Burton, I can't wait to see her don the Valkyries uniform. She's awesome. And Lauren Betts, her post game is crazy. She's got to stay healthy. Wow, Draymond calls Michigan scum. Did he give any context? Or is this Michigan State hate? What is that? Talk about the Rockets getting very lucky win against the Warriors on the road. Looks like Michigan hired a good replacement for Juwan Howard. Oh yeah, no doubt about that. Day is a hell of a coach, but Day has been successful. Remember, this guy went, he took Florida Atlantic to the Final Four. And he's been coaching for a long time. So, yeah, I felt sorry for Juwan because I don't like to see people who I like fail. I don't want to see anybody fail. But after year 3, it was apparent that Juwan was having some problems. And at the mid-major level, you get a chance to work those problems out. You really do. But in the Pac-10, the Pac-12, the Big Ten, no, you don't get those opportunities. You need to hit the floor running. And the irony is Juwan went to the Final Four his first year. Now, he has some challenges also because his son, who's a really good player, Juwan Howard, Chase Howard, I think he's on Orlando now. Or he might have been traded, I'm not quite sure. But had he stayed and came back for a sophomore year, Michigan would have been a lot better. So I was kind of surprised by that because that is his dad. I mean, he knew that if he left, if some other guys left, the Michigan program would be devoid of talent. And yet he left. So that's one of the reasons why Juwan didn't last. I mean, his good players kept leaving. Thank you. Basie is 25. I like what I see on defense. A good pick and roll player. I don't care if he isn't a three-point specialist. I don't care either. And I'm going to tell you the thing that really impresses me, Keith. He played multiple years in San Antonio. And if you play for the Spurs, I don't care where you are in your development, you're going to improve. If you can make it past that threshold where they go, all right, this is worth our time. This is worth our time to invest in this guy. You usually get better. So if you think that Steve Kerr doesn't talk to the Spurs organization, you're out of your mind. So they got his dossier, and they needed a big, but they got a pretty good, I think, endorsement from San Antonio on Basie. That's good. Hopefully he can continue to play. They're just going to probably rest Al Horford because Basie's not going to be eligible for even a play-in. He already knows that, so it doesn't really matter. You're probably going to rest Al Horford until that particular time. Now, I want to say this. I noticed it after the first 3 games or so, but I want you all to take a closer look. Kristaps Porzingis is cooked. You guys know that, right? He's cooked. I talked about it last week. His lower extremities are unstable and weak. Now, if he's not physically able to deal with the rigors of the NBA as a starting center, then he's done. You saw that tonight. He can't get off his feet to rebound. His upper body is pretty weak. He plays straight up in the air. I mean, Ed Gould should not be doing that to him. He's 7'3". The only thing that Kristaps can do is he still has pretty good hands. If you throw it up to him in an area, he can catch it and put the ball in the basket. He's a definite upgrade from what the Warriors had. I'm not saying he's not. And he can make an open shot if he gets on the roll. But he can't move laterally. His defense is not very good. He can be like a fly swatter type of guy, but he cannot play post defense because he's not physically strong in the first place. And now his lower extremities are a problem. I'm sure the Warriors don't like me saying this. I don't work for the Warriors. I watch the games differently than a lot of people. If he is healthy, it pisses me off because I can teach you guys how to play defense. Draymond's only there to take so much of that. That's why they went and got Basie. Like you said, Keys, it's like, so what? He can't shoot. He can play defense and rebound. So the Warriors want to bring Porzingis back. They do. Otherwise, it's a whole lot of egg on their face. I looked at Kuminga's stats. Kuminga's shooting 38% from 3, around 47 from the field, getting about 20, 25 minutes a game because he was injured, and averaging 12 points a game. And that's okay because Atlanta has culture right now. They have a core group of players that's helping them be successful. And they're bringing Kuminga off the bench, and he's been a pretty productive player. If I'm Atlanta, I don't extend him for a long contract. I pick his option up. That's what I do. Kind of like the Warriors. If I'm the Warriors, I get Porzingis $15 million guaranteed or 1 year, $20 million deal, knowing that he's only going to play 25 minutes a game. Hopefully you can bring Al Horford back. That will allow the Warriors not to have to draft a center out of college who might be good in 3 or 4 years. Steph Curry's not going to be happy if the Warriors draft a young Steph that needs to develop. He would rather they go out and get somebody like Yaxel Lindenberg who can come in and maybe not be Colin Kniffel, but be a very productive player at a very hard position to fill, which is offensive wing in the NBA. So it's a lot going on there. But I wanted to highlight Kristaps Porzingis. I feel sorry for him because some players get old earlier, which should allow us to appreciate LeBron as a basketball player even more. This guy is 41 years old, and let's be honest, LeBron right now is still a top 25 player. Top 30 at the back end. And he'll probably look at me and say, what do you mean top 25? I'm a top 15 player. Whatever he is, he's still damn good. Now, LeBron making comments, I have a take on that. And we'll talk about that a little later. I'm alluding to LeBron talking about not liking Memphis and not liking Milwaukee. I'm not going to speak of Milwaukee because they're not moving. I'm going to talk about Memphis because I spent some time in Memphis. I know that city. I actually lived in Memphis for a short period of time. And those comments that LeBron made, I don't think he thought about the ramifications of his statements. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit. He says, Knipple been balling all year and just set the Hornets' three-point record. But Flag is the golden boy who's been putting up some huge numbers lately. Who's your rookie of the year? I have no problem going co-rookie of the year. None. I think they both deserve it. And you know, I go back to, I don't know if it happened more recently, but Grant Hill and Jason Kidd were co-rookies of the year. Co-MVPs, nah, I don't want that. But co-rookies of the year, I don't have a problem with it because there's already been precedent set. There's already been precedent set. And I really can't say that one guy has had a better year than the other. When you look at the context, Khan has played in more meaningful games. You know, Charlotte is actually a playoff team at this point, or at least they're going to be in the play-in. Cooper has had some empty calories, but this dude is balled. He's played his tail off. He's done everything that I thought that he would do. Now, I didn't see a 50-burger. I didn't see that happening. But I thought that he would probably average about 20 a game. I mean, he's exceeded my expectations. So I think co-rookies of the year is appropriate. Whether or not that will happen, I don't know. I want to raise something, though. And Mike Greenberg has talked about this, and some other people have talked about this. And I am a little sensitive because Nico Harrison is not only the general manager, was the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, he was a black executive, right? When black people fail, it feels like 3 times the weight. Everybody should have an opportunity to fail. Everybody should have an opportunity to have success. Everybody should have an equal opportunity to recover from a failure. But that doesn't happen. We all know that doesn't happen as rapidly for all people as it does for some. Here is my take. I don't believe Nico Harrison made that trade on his own volition. I don't believe it. Even though he said he did, I don't believe it. Okay. Is he responsible for it? Yes, he is. Now, the Dallas Mavericks, inexplicably, it was not planned, but they got the #1 pick and they drafted Cooper Flag. The damage of the Luka trade, to me, I'm not going to call it a wash, but it's nowhere near as detrimental as some of these pundits make it out to be. I said it before and I'll say it again. If I have an opportunity to have Luka or Cooper Flag, I want Cooper Flag. I do. In spite of Luka averaging 40 for a month and playing his tail off and looking every bit like the future Hall of Famer that he's going to be, I'd rather have Cooper Flag. Now you might say, Red, you crazy. I'm crazy then. I want a guy that I know is going to show up on both ends of the court every night. I want a guy who I know is going to be able to deal with the ebbs and flows of the game. It's sickening to me to hear people yell MVP for Luka, but Luka leads the league in technical fouls. To me, that matters. Some people, maybe it doesn't. That matters to me. It does. So if I'm the Dallas Mavericks, I'm okay. I'm cool right now. I'm cool. I got a generational talent that I can build around. I'm terrible this year. I have an opportunity to go out and get another stud player. I'm okay. Now, I guess I'm looking at it from a basketball perspective. I'm not really a fan per se. I'm a fan of the Knicks. That's it. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think it was the worst trade in the world? I don't think it was. On the surface, you can go, it was lopsided. But when I look at ultimately what has transpired for Dallas, they would not have gotten Cooper Flag had Luka stayed in Dallas. No way. Tell me I'm wrong. The great Vicky says, I'm really disappointed in how Ant-Man is playing. I thought they would make so much noise in the playoffs. They didn't even make the play-in. What is going on with that team? You're not talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves, are you? Ant-Man. What do you mean by that? Vicky, help me out with that. I'm not quite sure where you're going with that. I want to say this about Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama, he's already the best player in the league. You guys know that, right? Is he going to win the MVP? I don't know. I don't really care. That dude is the best player in the league. All he has to do, which is a tough thing for some guys, he has to show up every night. I mean, to me, the reason why Kevin Durant is in rarefied air and truly one of the greatest players of all time is he has never cheated the game. Now, Wemby has never cheated the game. But sometimes you can look at Wemby's stats and go, what happened? This dude is dominant. A freakazoid. And the best player in the league, in my opinion. Key says, LeBron's statements just show who he is on the court and off. Always whining, spoiled, entitled, little bitch. All right. So there's a cat kind of on the internet. He actually works in the industry, so he's not just like a person spewing out content. Nah, he actually works in the industry. I believe as a sportscaster. Doc Holliday, the gentleman's name. Went to Memphis, played football, legend in that community, and he puts a lot of stuff on the internet. And he was talking about mainly LeBron, but he kind of touched on some other people who were basically dogging Memphis about the quality of the hotels in the city. And LeBron saying that the Memphis Grizzlies should move from Memphis and go to Nashville, which is kind of a building theme. Not among, LeBron didn't start that. But it's been, even when people were not publicly saying it, it was kind of a thing in the underground. So LeBron did not start this. However, like Keith says, he didn't add any context. This is the same guy who talks about being a poor kid from Akron, being the product of a teenage mother, and having the tremendous hurdle and journey of building himself up to uplift himself, his family, and his community. That journey gets harder for people who look like him in Memphis if the Grizzlies move to Nashville. I would think a kid, no, he's not a kid. I would think a person like LeBron would have some perspective and understand that his words do matter. And if you're going to make a statement like that, talk about, add some context. Now, I did a whole lot of research on this topic, starting yesterday. Here are the main issues. Here are the main issues. I lived in Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis is a relatively small geographic city, but it's highly populated. There's damn near like 1 million people in the general Memphis area, right? Here's the challenges that the billionaires are talking about, the corporate heads, the NBA. They're not going to say it publicly, but these are the issues. Memphis has one of the highest crime rates in the nation. One violent crime is committed per every 2,500 residents. That's among the highest in the country. The only two cities that are higher are St. Louis and Detroit. Detroit Pistons are going nowhere because there's so much more that the Detroit and greater Detroit community offers that make it a great location for an NBA team. I feel the same way about Memphis, but that is an issue. The other issue is the educational system in Memphis, I think, is not where it needs to be. I'll be nice. It's not where it needs to be. Memphis has one of the highest rates of charter schools in the nation. And what that means, I mean, there's some excellent charter schools, right? But by and large, charter schools are very prevalent in minority and Black communities. Memphis is 64% Black. These are issues. These are issues. Nashville with the same population, I checked it out, it was 640,000 in Memphis proper, about 620 in Nashville. The crime rate's lower. I could understand if somebody else said that, maybe coming from a different community. But somebody like LeBron, who's really come up to accomplish incredible things, I just wanted him to understand the context of his words. He has a right to have his opinion, but this is not about hotels. Because you can build hotels. Memphis's infrastructure and hotels, and that's, I mean, for somebody like myself going to the Sheraton or the Holiday Inn, I mean, it's fine. But I guess when you become a professional athlete, and it doesn't matter what your race is, there's a level of expectation that I guess you have. I hope I never get to that point. Regardless of how much money I have, regardless of the status that I have, I would like to think that I could go to a hotel room that might not be the best I've ever seen, but have a nice bed, and I can sleep well. I went to the Hall of Fame ceremony last October, right? I stayed at the Sheridan. Probably very similar to a Sheridan in Memphis, Tennessee. Guess what? So many celebrities were at the Sheridan and all these other places. I had lunch with Joey Crawford. You know, it's funny. I'm thinking yesterday, I saw the list of people who are going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year, and Joey Crawford is on that list. I just having lunch with Joey Crawford at last year's induction ceremony. My point is, all this scuttlebutt, all this BS about the hotels. I mean, come on, y'all. It's not about the hotels. People are having big boy conversations about NBA franchises. If the Memphis Grizzlies move to Nashville, the value of that team, and this is me talking, I haven't looked at the data, but they probably become $1 to 1.5, maybe to $2 billion more valuable. If it happens, nobody's going to be surprised. I hope it does not happen. I think that there is a way to save that team and uplift that community, because minorities benefit more than anybody, any other group, having a professional team. When I go watch the Warriors, do you know how many grandfathers and grandmas and senior citizens that I see working as customer service personnel? I take pride in that. I don't want to see that go away, particularly in those southern states where the minimum wage level it's embarrassingly low. People are trying to survive. So that's my context. Crime, you got to get that under control, and the education system. There's only 2 universities in Memphis area that people would even know about. I live there, so I know about it. Rose College is a private little school, liberal arts school, well respected, ranked 55 in the nation. The University of Memphis is their big university. It's ranked 273. You think education doesn't matter? It matters. Nashville has Belmont University, well respected. Vanderbilt, the quote, Harvard of the South. Hopefully I added some context to those comments from LeBron. Hopefully LeBron's going to come back and go, you know what? Let me tell the whole story about Memphis. Memphis is a great city. Talk about culture. Do I have to inform you? Al Green, Elvis Presley. Listen, I went to the studio where Al Green recorded all of his hits. I was friends with the grandchildren of the great Willie Mitchell, who was Al Green's producer. It's a great city. Don't believe the hype. They need to clean things up. They can do it, but it's a great city. Key says, I wish LeBron would do charity work when he goes on the road games and try to be a good role model to kids. He got such a huge platform. Use it in a great way and be a legend off the court as well. I hear you. And let's say also that LeBron does a lot of good stuff. He does, that I'm sure you or I don't know about, right? I think he does do a lot of good stuff. But here's the thing. It's a reason why I don't idolize people, particularly not people who play sports. I'm fortunate enough to have been around enough professional athletes to know that they're just regular people. LeBron is an extraordinary basketball player, one of the best that we've ever seen. But LeBron didn't go to college. He didn't go to college. There's so many things that LeBron probably talks about that he only has a surface level of information about. City planning and infrastructure, and even with LeBron putting his heart, sweat, and a little bit of money, a lot of money, into a school to uplift his community, LeBron doesn't know a whole lot about education. How could he? He went to private school. He's never been a teacher. The day-to-day intricacies of a school, how these young kids learn, he doesn't know this stuff. So I guess even as a 41-year-old billionaire superstar, he has a lot to learn. He has a lot to learn. We all do. None of us are experts. So, again, I think LeBron was not the only one who's speaking to that. Anybody who says just be flippant and move the Grizzlies from Memphis to Nashville, I want you to have some context about it. Just because most professional athletes who rise to the level of affluence didn't start there. Most of them started poor. Not all. Not all. Chris Webber's mom was a teacher, his dad worked, and Grant Hill certainly was. I mean, there's a lot of folks who were not dirt poor, but a lot of them were. Context. Vicky says I love the song "Walking in Memphis." Yeah, I like it too. There's so much history. I don't know how many people have gone to Memphis, but it's a lot of history there. They got a nice little river bridge that you go over to get from Memphis to Arkansas. I get it. I mean, it's not growing up in New York. Nashville is far more wealthier. There are more celebrities. They got a hockey team. They got an NFL team. Memphis has a lot of work to do. I'm kind of mad at the Warriors for losing this game. Stop it. At home against the Rockets when Curry is back. Such a bad loss by the Warriors. Mr. GOAT, as long as you wake up tomorrow, everything's going to be okay. All right? You're going to be okay. You get up in the morning, you're hungry, you have a nice breakfast. Don't worry about the Warriors, man. They're going to be okay. Your life is not going to change by the Warriors losing this game. They're not. Take it easy. Keys. Giannis is mad that the Bucks won't let him play, and the NBA is investigating. Why doesn't the Bucks get fined for tanking? Does the NBA only fine teams they deem irrelevant? That's a fair question, and I think if you ask that question after they've done their investigation, then I think you would have a valid point, because it would not be unusual or would not be a surprise if Milwaukee did get fined after they've done their investigation. I understand how they can't just arbitrarily punish Milwaukee based on what a player says. They got to do the due diligence. But I think your point is well taken. Well taken. I know you all feel the same way. Even though I wasn't in favor of Steph coming back, I'm not against it. I love watching that guy play basketball. I just love watching him play. It's so much fun. So much fun. And I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say it every week until someone makes a strong argument why it shouldn't happen. Now, maybe my numbers are off a little bit, but I think Pods deserves an extension. I do. I think Pods has played well enough to get some job security. I said 4 year, $15 million a year. Maybe I'm punch drunk, or I'm playing a game of Monopoly with the Warriors' money. But I think a 3 or 4 year deal at $10 million a year is not absurd. As much money as the NBA has, Paul doesn't miss a lot of games either. He shows up. So I never thought I would be campaigning for Paul to get an extension, but I think he deserves it. I really do. The other thing, even though they lost tonight, and this is rare, so I want to acknowledge it. J.J. Redick can coach his ass off. J.J. Redick is a hell of a basketball coach. He's done some amazing things with the Lakers this year as a coach. I do not like how the Lakers have handled LeBron. I don't. I don't like it. I would love to see LeBron move on to the Warriors next year. Well, he's a third option. LeBron can never be a third option as long as he's healthy. Never be a third option as long as he's healthy. He might decide that it's best for the team to take on a different role. Yeah, he looked like a third option tonight against Dallas. Just the framing of how the Lakers have handled this LeBron thing, to me, I can't believe LeBron hasn't blown a gasket. He's been a complete professional. He's handled the whole thing. We're going to see how that transpires at the end of the year. Now, one of the things that the Lakers have done that not many other teams would do is I think that they really nurtured Bronny James. I really loved seeing Bronny and LeBron on the court together tonight. And the game has slowed down for Bronny. To the extent that in a well-run organization, he can play. I always thought he had NBA talent, but I didn't know if he would have enough runway to actually get comfortable as an NBA player. But I like what I see from Bronny. I really do. I really do. Only he got to do now is get his shot together. But the guy doesn't look like a deer with headlights shining on him anymore. He really does. I'm very proud of that kid. Very proud of him. He's made tremendous strides. I mean, he's got his G League thing on like everybody else. I give a lot of credit to J.J. Redick. I really do. For building the kid's confidence, putting him in positions where he can be successful, and holding him accountable. I think it's fantastic. And one of the things that a lot of people don't understand about professional sports, that for most people, it is a make or break thing when you are a marginal talent. What kind of person are you? What kind of teammate are you? By all accounts, this is a fantastic kid. And I hope he makes it. I really do. Pod's got booed at the Giants game. I'm going to say this. Pods is, I don't know Pods, but Pods is not the type of personality that I want to ride cross country with without knowing him. Maybe I got a chance to know him and I realized that's just his public persona. He's really a great guy. But when you make statements like, I want to be better than Stephen Curry, when you are a marginal NBA player, at this stage of your career, because Pods has got what so many other NBA players don't get. He's got a lot of playing time. He's also playing for one of the best coaches in the NBA. He's also playing in one of the most player-friendly offenses in the NBA. So it isn't all about him He's not the only reason why he's playing well, or he's played very well in spurts and been kind of bad sometimes. You know, he needs more humility. And I think that he's probably made some strides in that area, but he doesn't come off like a humble cat. And that has hurt him because he might be a humble guy. He might be. We don't really know. I don't know him personally. I know his agent, but I don't know him. The people who go to Giant games are hardworking people who are looking for a diversion. Baseball is a diversion for them. That's why when people are talking about the Giants not playing well in April, really? Really? The sun is shining, it's 80 degrees. People are laughing, having fun, enjoying their families, and you're gripping because the Giants lost a game in April, or a couple of games? They're going to be fine. It'd be interesting to have someone have an in-depth conversation with Pods, like a real honest interview to ask where this stuff comes from. Because it's almost like he doesn't understand. He doesn't like read the room real well. So he brings a lot of this stuff on himself. Steve Kerr has nurtured him and protected him in many ways for the past 3 years. This is his third year, this fourth year. I think it's his third year, right? Yeah, he's eligible for an extension. This is year 3. Who do you think is going to win tomorrow? Vicky thinks Michigan is going to win. Anybody picking UConn? I would be surprised if UConn won. If I'm betting money, which I'm not, I bet Michigan. Michigan is a better team. There's no doubt about that. Michigan is better. But Danny Hurley, I'm not going to say anybody's going to outcoach that guy. His players are going to be prepared defensively. I expect them to come out there with like their pants are on fire and play good basketball. So I'm looking for a good game. I think Michigan will win, but I would not be shocked if UConn won. It would not be the biggest upset I've ever seen before. Yeah, Keith says, I miss our Oakland teams, and I know Oakland does as well. Yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about the impact of the words of professional athletes when they talk about Memphis. Memphis and Oakland are, there are some similarities, I'll say that. Both have historically had high Black populations. Oakland is different in that there's more interaction between all people in Oakland than in Memphis. That's what I think. So funds are dispersed, I think, I'm not going to say equally, but funds are dispersed more widely in Oakland than they are in Memphis. But there's some similarities. There really are. Of all the teams that Oakland has lost, I think the biggest loss is the Oakland A's. You know, the Oakland Raiders had tremendous fans. I love going to the games. I love covering the Raiders. But the Raiders were poorly run in Oakland. And by all accounts, allegedly, Mark Davis was up to his nose just trying to run that team. They were not one of the more wealthy teams. So it wasn't going to be sustainable for them to stay in Oakland unless they got somebody to build them a stadium. And I don't think that was going to happen. So I think Mark Davis did what he had to do. You know, he moved to Vegas and made a hell of a lot of money. They're not a very good football team. It would have been better here. The Warriors, I love the Warriors in Oakland. They needed a new stadium. The old Warriors location off the highway, that was archaic. Unless they were going to build that stadium somewhere near man transit or near the water, some type of infrastructure. Ultimately, I think they were probably going to move. And I don't like it. I wish they were in the East Bay, but I understand. Nobody can look at the Warriors and tell Joe Lacob that it was a bad decision to move them to San Francisco. From a business perspective, it was not. The Oakland A's was just bad. I don't think it was a good business move moving to Vegas. And from a culture perspective, it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. No team that identifies with Oakland was more entrenched with a professional team than the Oakland A's was with their community. So I don't like it either. I want to talk about, as much as I can, what do you guys think about who's going to be the next head coach, University of North Carolina Tar Heels? I said last week that I don't know if he wants the job or not, but if he wants the job, I would pick Billy Donovan personally. And he might turn out to be the guy, but I don't know this because I haven't talked to him about this, but just kind of knowing his level of integrity, I think Bill wants to finish the season out with Chicago. I think that's important to him, to finish the season out. It puts things in an uncomfortable situation because the portal opens up on Tuesday. Literally, it's like a bunch of people going to the open fruit market, vegetable and fruit market, trying to get the best pieces of fruit and vegetables before it runs out. Literally, that's kind of what you have. These coaches are going to go shopping on Tuesday to get players. It's like literally like picking fruit or picking vegetables from a stand. That's kind of a problem for Carolina. I don't know what they're going to do. I think if you want to get the best coach, whomever you think that is, and you're going to give this person a 5-year deal, assuming you want the best coach. If they're truly the best coach, then they'll figure it out. I would not hire a guy because he might miss the portal on Tuesday. I wouldn't do that personally. There's a lot of different things circling around that North Carolina program. When I was in college, as I said, I played against North Carolina 3 times. And just like the movie with Tom Cruise, it's like The Firm. It really is. That's how it used to be. And I don't think that it's ever going to be too far from that. I don't. I think there are always going to be stakeholders in that Carolina program because there are too many legends that are still very much a part and invested emotionally and financially in that program. The idea of a coach is coming in and just being totally left alone to do it their way, I don't think so. I think it's more like we get the best political candidate. This is ideally, if they could do it how they wanted to do, I think North Carolina would find the best candidate that they felt comfortable with, that they thought could work with them. is going out and creating the criteria for the quote best coach and leaving that coach alone to do the job how they felt was best. I don't know if that's going to work in Carolina. It's going to be interesting. But we should know something by the time we do another show next week. We definitely will probably know who the next coach of Carolina is. They got to get the guy though. They have to. They can't screw this up. The great Vicky says, see how many people go to games in Vegas when it's 110 degrees outside. Yikes. Have at it, A's owner. Hope you lose your shirt. Know what's going to happen, Vicky? I think this owner is going to find somebody to pay him a profit to sell, and he's going to be gone. He don't love baseball. This is about money. This is not about somebody loving baseball like Peter McGowan and the rest of the Giant owners did, 25 years ago to keep the team, maybe 30 years ago at this point, to keep the Giants in the Bay Area. That was out of love. Moving to Vegas was out of greed and money. I heard Stephen A. Smith say something that I was just like, really, dude? And I've actually said more nice things about Stephen A. than a lot of people do, because I respect the work. And he moves the needle. You can say he doesn't, but he does move the needle. But he says that he was praising Rob Manfred for doing such a great job as a commissioner. And I thought to myself, dude, do you know this guy allowed one of the franchises to leave a market that literally supported this team the way the A's fans did? To move to Vegas? If David Stern was the commissioner of MLB, I don't think that would have happened. David Stern would not allow the Sacramento Kings to leave Sacramento. Would not allow it. Of all the things that David Stern has did as the NBA commissioner, to me that was his greatest accomplishment. Keeping that team in Sacramento and helping it nurture and build a legacy in that particular market. Why did he do that? Primarily because of the fans. Because Sacramento has one of the most loyal fan bases in the entire NBA. Ownership has been a problem. But fans, they love that team. They love the Kings. They really do. Then why didn't he sell when he was in Z? I'm not quite sure what that means. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So why didn't he sell when he was in Oakland? I honestly believe that he didn't want to be shown up. He didn't want to be the owner who sold to another team in this market and then see that team rise to prominence. Because the narrative, Vicky, of why he was leaving Oakland was because the team was not being supported. That was his narrative. That was his alleged motive. Well, this is not a great market. And that would have been proven wrong almost immediately. So it was a rule to save his Yankee reputation. That's all that was. He didn't want to be embarrassed. Sports betting saved baseball. It is by far the worst sport to watch or attend. If you are emotionally invested, if you're just out there to get some sun, and chill with your kids and your wife and choke a few hot dogs down, it's a great time out. I'm not emotionally invested in baseball. And I play baseball. I like it. You know, I mean, I actually look forward to going to maybe 3 or 4, no more than 5 baseball games a year. I watch it on TV sometimes, but I don't want to go to more than 5 games. But those 5 experiences that I have out there in the sun, hopefully in the bleachers, where I got some room, is awesome. I mean, I marvel at people who go, yeah, I got a 50-game package. What? Yeah, you know, I got a 40-game package this year. Oh, really? Good grief. 200 games a year to bet on. Yeah, I don't really know about that life, Keith. I mean, I used to, yeah. I mean, betting has changed sports in general. I mean, as long as it's fun, I get it. I think it's entertainment. But when it gets to the point where it consumes your life and bad things are happening, there's some horrible outcomes. There really are. All right. I want to tell you about, well, I got one more thing to say. I think Jerry Stackhouse is a wild card. I think he is. And I think Jerry Stackhouse deserves more respect than he's getting publicly for that UNC job. But I think he's kind of a wild card. If all hell falls through, it would not surprise me or shock me if Jerry Stackhouse is the new head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. That would not surprise me. Why? Because they know Jerry Stackhouse. Jerry Stackhouse is from the firm. Number 2, you know, for folks who are of a certain age, Jerry Stackhouse would be unlikely to to recruit a player who was better than him. Jerry Stackhouse is one of the greatest college Carolina players ever to play. Beat Duke quite a bit when he was there. This dude is a winner. He's a leader of men. Can he run a program at that level and win immediately against all of those other coaches that he needs to beat? I don't know if he can do that. And I think that's the question that is being asked internally if they are considering Jerry Stackhouse. Because he can put together a pretty darn good resume. Now, the Vanderbilt tenure was not great. But he looks the part. I think he has the right stuff. And if they don't get who they want or who they target, it would not surprise me if Jerry Stackhouse was hired as the coach and surrounded by other competent coaches and given a lot of money to go out and recruit. Because he's a household name in the area where Carolina likes to win. Virginia, North Carolina, you know, a little bit of Florida, that whole South-oriented region. Carolina used to kill that area. They used to blow Duke away. They should blow Duke's doors off in recruiting. That's not happening right now. It's not. All right. I saw a film that's called The Drama. Now, they could have done a better job on the title. The Drama, really? Is there drama in it? Yes. But this was not about the title. This was not about the intricate plot. I mean, there was some, you know, There was enough of a plot to kind of keep you entertained. But this was about acting. Zendaya. She's cut it. She don't even have a last name now. She goes by Zendaya. Zendaya stars as Emma. And her love interest is Charlie, that's played by Robert Pattinson. Both of these individuals are top tier actors. Top tier, top shelf. And I think what the studios did is they said, you know what? We're not going to focus all of our energy on the script. Give us a decent script. The script is decent. The plot line is decent. But the acting from Zendaya and Robert are phenomenal. They both did really, really good jobs. And they show why they're among the best of their era in Hollywood. Zendaya is a flat-out star. She's radiant. She's a beautiful girl who actually is such a good actress that you forget how good she looks. That's hard to do. A lot of actresses and actors don't make it because you can't get past how they look. Zendaya, she's really good. No matter what you think of her aesthetically, I think she's a better actress. She's phenomenal. And Robert equally, I've seen him do 3, 4, 5 different things in terms of movie roles, and he killed all of them. So I would suggest, if you're looking for a movie, the drama is something that I recommend. I don't recommend it because it's the greatest script. It was a masterclass in acting. That's what it was. And I found that interesting. Now, one of my guilty pleasures is Alana Hamm, who is one of the Hamm sisters, which is a fairly well-known, fairly popular rock band, all-girls rock band, who've had some hits. She's a natural. She was in Licorice Pizza, Paul Thomas Anderson's last movie outside of Last Battle. And as it turns out, Alana Hamm's mother was Paul Thomas Anderson's art teacher in high school. So it's kind of a family connection there. But she's a natural. Alana Hamm is a natural. And why is she a natural? She's a natural because she comes off like a very average person, like a regular person. That's how she projects. And if you can project as somebody who folks can relate to, it gives you the ability to play a lot of different characters authentically. And I thought she was really good in this particular movie. So is she ever going to be a gigantic star in acting? I don't know that, because I don't think she fits the Hollywood prototype, but she's really good. She's really good. I liked her quite a bit. I'm jacked up because I just started writing a short film. All right, I got the inspiration to start writing a short film. I've been watching a lot of them, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm jacked. A couple more things. Key says, Stackhouse, please. I'll never go against someone, getting an opportunity. If he wants it and they want him, have at it. I think it's going to be Billy Donovan if he wants to go. Vicky says, are you going to see the Michael Jackson movie when it comes out later this month? Absolutely. No doubt. I can't wait for that. If Steve Kerr goes, Jerry might take his place. Joe and the players like him. Yeah. Likability goes out the window when you start losing. I gotta see him smile more. I don't see him smile, Vicky. He has a stoic persona, and players make mistakes. It's hard to be that stoic. I mean, like you see, like Emi Udoka. I mean, he gets in the guys, right? The Houston coach, but he's won. He's already won. Stackhouse has to. I think he has to build up to that. A lot of experience at this point. He's been coaching for a long time. He really has. And whomever takes Steve Kerr's spot when it's over, I don't want to be that guy. That's going to be tough. That's like Hubert Davis taking over for Roy Williams. That's like Adrian Autry at Syracuse taking over for Jim Boeheim. It's just hard when you follow a legend. It's really hard when you follow a legend. I want to see Draymond Green succeed Tom Izzo at Michigan State. I don't think Draymond wants to do it. I don't know. Draymond talks about building financial empires, and he's a natural at broadcasting. So I think there's some things out there that will probably be less work and pay a lot more money. But I would love to see Draymond, if he's interested in coaching, go back to Michigan State and be the guy. I would love to see that. So, anyway, y'all, we covered a lot of ground tonight. I want to thank y'all for hanging in there. It seems like we got our technical stuff solved. Would you say that? Would you say that technically we're back on track? Hopefully that is the case. All right. Hopefully you hit the like button, you subscribe to the program. My name is Frank Red. This is the Dungeon Show. I'm going to do my thing and get out of here. All right. Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things, help other people make their lives better. As far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. All right. Stephen Curry had a tremendous return for the Golden State Warriors. Unfortunately, it did not result in a victory. The Golden State Warriors are now 36-42. That's not going to matter that much. They're still going to be in the play-in. Hopefully, Stephen doesn't get hurt. Everyone have a phenomenal week, and I'll talk to you down the road. All right. Good night, everybody. Peace.